And let me see what we look like. And we're coming up. And let me put on some holding music here. Let's turn. Can you all hear that? I know it's a little loud, but we gotta waiting for YouTube. Come on, YouTube. There we go. Okay.
30 seconds.
Okay, everybody, let's dance. Kay, you got to dance. That's part of the show.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host,
yourself.
akaRadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's akaRadioRed.
Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure, who gets me on the show so beautifully. I'm akaRadioRed. Happy to be here. It's Monday. Where in the world else would I be? I have two very lovely guests with me. Third guest seems to be MIA. He might show up. We don't know. But the show has been rebranded about 3 weeks ago. So as he said, Read My Lips. Well, that's part of the name, but it's not the name of the show anymore. So we are now, I want Kay and Jason, who I haven't introduced yet. I want you to be excited. This is the Creativity Show. So I got to go back to Ryan and have that. I know. Is that amazing?
It's a great title. The
Thank you.
rebrand.
And
two thumbs up on the rebrand.
Thank you. And then it's Read My Lips with akaRadioRed instead of all inside out. I thought that'd be better for SEO. So anyway, I'm just so happy to have you both here. And this is a delight. And let me see where we are in the world today. Let's go and see. We are at, I'll tell you in a second. Okay, this is September 29th, believe it or not. I don't know about you, but the year's just, it seemed slow and then is, wait a minute. Almost time to change the clocks again. It's the 272nd day of the 2025 year in the Gregorian calendar. And Kay and Jason, used to be the Julian calendar. And a lot of people in October didn't get to celebrate their birthdays very often, Kay, because Julian just skipped part of October. I don't know if you're aware of that. I'm an October baby, and I wouldn't have had a birthday, which maybe not would have been so bad. Anyway, Gregorian came along, the Pope, and he said, we got to line this thing up. We got to line it up with the moon and the tides and all that. So he put in a leap year, one extra day every fourth year, and now we all get to have our birthdays, for good or for bad. 94 days are left. That means it's time to start planning New Year's Eve. I don't know what you're drinking, but go find it because the shelves will be empty because we're all so happy to still be here. It's the fourth Monday, and nobody cares about that except me. And is either one of you a Libra like I am? Jason or Kay? No Libra?
No, I'm a Virgo.
Yeah. You're a Virgo. Oh, you just missed it. Well, I got to tell you, I'm Libra the scales. I'll read a little poem to you. Libra the scale seeks balance and grace, harmony and fairness in each time and place we try. Charming and social, with laugh they glow. A lover of beauty where artistic breezes flow. We'll just leave that there. So that's my little introduction. Now, before we really get started in earnest, and I once dated a man named Ernest, and I told my mother, and she said he might have been earnest, but was he sincere? Okay. You can laugh louder, kids. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Lower the hand there. There you go, Red. Okay. So the deal is that we have to make the shape of the letter L with either hand. I don't know whether you're a righty or a lefty, Kay or Jason, but make the shape of the letter L. And we didn't rehearse this, but let's see how well you do. On the count of 3, you're going to join me at exactly my pace in saying hello, L, 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 just like that. 1, 2, 3. Hello, L, L, L. Jordan Henson, my engineer for Voice America Empowerment. Jordan, you can put him down as tied for second place. That was really good, Kay and Jason. Just it was dragging a little, but you were so in sync, I couldn't tell. And Laura will be thrilled. It's lovely, lanky Laura Legs as LLL. She's our most loyal listener, and she is somewhere in New York that doesn't start with L. Kay, I've tried to get her to move here to Loudon, Tennessee with me, and she just refused. I gave her a whole list of L places around the country. She just wasn't going to move. She's in Whitestone, so it's LLL with W. But she will send me a report at 6:01 p.m. Eastern, and she'll tell me what Kay said, and she'll tell me what Jason said. She's been doing this for years. And she says, hello, beautiful, gorgeous lady of red. I love your show. And she'll tell me a few little bits and pieces of what Kay said and what Jason said. And it's lovely. She's a very good friend and very loyal. So she doesn't even have a cell phone. She listens on her computer, and I'm thrilled that she's still with me. So let me just tell you a couple of famous birthdays and events today, and then we'll get started. So anybody ever heard of a basketball player named Kevin Durant? KD?
Oh yeah, I've been watching him since he played in Texas. Yeah,
he's 37 today. Houston Rockets, National Basketball Association. He's won 2 NBA championships, 4 Olympic gold medals, an NBA Most Valuable Player, 2 NBA Finals MVPs, All-Star Game Most Valuable Player, and 4 NBA scoring titles. Happy birthday, 37. Can you imagine that kind of success in that short of a time? And then we have an actor named Ian McShane. Have you ever heard of him? He played, yes. Oh, Jason, you're in with me. He played the lead.
He's one of my favorite actors.
I'm glad I picked him then. He was starring as the title character in the BBC series Lovejoy. He is 83 today. Happy birthday, Ian. I know. If you've ever heard of Zachary Levi, an actor, he's 45 today. He was Chuck Bartowski in the action comedy series. Am I hurting your feelings, Jason?
I'm so old.
Don't. And he was the title character in the superhero film Shazam. And then I have to introduce you to a young lady who's 18. Kay is wondering why I introduce you, because you've never heard of her. Her name is Allie, ALY, for life. All one word. She's 18 years old. Why is she here? Because she has 2.5 million followers on TikTok. Kay, she has 47 million likes. And you know what she does? Oh, listen to this. She posts get ready with me videos featuring her cat, Jasper. Seriously. And mukbang videos. You know what that is? When you eat large quantities of food. It was started in Korea years ago. She likes to eat food on camera. And one of her videos, part 7, with her cat, Jasper, has 16 million views. I know. Well, when they're that successful, they make on my birthday list. Gene Autry, the singing cowboy, was born today. He passed away in 1998. Jerry Lee Lewis, Great Balls of Fire, the rock and roll wild man. He was born on this day in 1935. Madeline Kahn, of course, you all know her from What's Up, Doc? Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles. She was born on this day. They're all gone in 1942. And I'm sure you remember Larry Linville, who was Major Frank Burns on MASH on TV. He was born on this day in 1939. So, and the only other thing I can tell you is that in 1963, on this date, well, this is really something I have to prepare you two for this. It might be shocking. The Rolling Stones started their first British tour at the New Victoria Theatre in London. Do you know what they were on the bill with? They were the supporting act for the Everly Brothers and Bo Diddley. I got to tell you, it's really something. And one more thing. On this day in 2003, 22 years ago, McDonald's launched the I'm Lovin' It campaign. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Guess what? They needed to rebrand. Talking about rebranding, Jason, they needed to rebrand so badly that they went all over the world to advertising agencies and they said, somebody give us a new rebrand, give us a new something. And a German agency called Mona Davis Music came up with the name of it. I'm Lovin' It. And they made, but it was just a jingle. So who did they go to? Justin Timberlake. They paid him and Pharrell Williams $6 million to turn it into a song, to record it, and to make the music video. So I'm Lovin' It is based on the ba-da-ba-ba-ba by a couple of writers in Germany's Mona Davis music. Isn't that exciting? Did you know that?
I didn't even know it was the whole song.
I didn't either. Today is National Coffee Day and it's National Silent Movie Day, and that's all I have to tell you. So let me get started here, and here we go. Okay, let me see. No, Joel's not here. I just saw he wrote a note of apology to somebody. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Creativity Show, where inspiration takes flight. akaRadioRed on her Scarlett Mic live streaming Bright. On the blending of creativity, that's our topic today, her panelists will share how life's surprising twists blend ideas with flair. Jason Kristopher and Kay Sparling both take part. See, I had to change it because Joel's not here. Revealing cool insights from the very start. No blah, blah, yada, yada here. Just discoveries true. An hour of savvy insight awaits. We await from each of you. What'd you think? Kay, you like that?
I like it. You're a poet, man.
Oh, I got more for you, honey. Let's go. Jason, you're up first. Jason Kristopher writes Where the Dark Meets the Light. Zombies and mysteries with griffins in flight. Star Trek's bright hope and Pratchett's sharp wit fueled noir adventures where Jason's stories just fit. From his Florida desk with coffee in hand, 10,000 words flow when the muses demand. A gamer, world builder with board games galore. Jason's novel, The Dying of the Light, weaves heroic lore. Jason, did you like that?
I did.
I'm glad.
I did.
Okay, and Kay, it's your turn now. From Midwest roots to the stage at just 7, Kay Sparling sang The Sound of Music, her voice pure heaven. From Kansas to Vienna, her studies took flight. Opera apprenticeships honed her talents so bright. A cantor in New York, she gave solace in song, honoring first responders where chaos was strong. Now the author of Mission Thaw, her spy story sees. Kay's next work is book 2 in her Caitlin Stewart series. What'd you think?
Loved it, babe. Loved it.
I'm glad. I'll close with this. We have more show. I'm just closing the opening. So gather round with a cool vibe sway. I need both of you to sway as we dive deep into as we dive deep into creativity today, aka Radio Red's energy lights the way. So does the sun coming in the window here. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you happy with the opening?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm glad. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is ask each of you, and we'll extend the 3-minute time for your speaking in sound bites to 3.5 minutes because it's just the two of you. But I know, as Jason said, Red, I have a lot to say, so I know that. I'm putting you on speaker view, Mr. Jason Kristopher, and what I'd like you to do is fill in some blanks. Tell us a little more about yourself, a little more of the origin story, so everybody can get to know you better. And Kay and I will be listening, and then Kay, your turn is next. So, Jason, putting you on speaker view, go.
Well, I've been writing since I was about 7 or 8. I was just recently cleaning up my office, and I found some of the original stories I wrote back then, and they're as awful as you might expect, but it does tell me that I've been telling stories for a very long time. It's such a core part of my personality. I'm really good at reciting jokes or retelling, I guess I would say, jokes that I hear from comedians. And I love stand-up comedians, and just being a natural mimic really helps with that. I do accents, I do voices, I do all kinds of things. I've been told I have a face for radio, which I think is funny because I think it's more of a face for audiobooks, maybe.
Radio is not just voice anymore. I call this
exactly.
radio. This is radio with live video zooming. So you're still on radio.
It's a big thing. So, and my partner, she really likes my voice. So I think that's a big part of who I am too.
I'm very glad.
The thing about me as an author is I'm just trying to connect. I tell stories that are character-driven stories, mainly to let readers connect with them, to show that there's something else out there, whether it's good or maybe scary, but it's all about being human, I think, is what it is for me.
Thank you very much. Do you want to give us an example of some of these voice imitations you do? You got to.
All right, let's talk about the Scotsman that I can do.
Wow, that wasn't Sean Connery, was it?
No. Sean can do it as well as I can.
Wow, give me another one. You got another one?
All right. So I was at the bar one night, and I'm talking to a buddy of mine, and he says, "So where are you from? Are you from Edinburgh? You sound like you're from Edinburgh." And I said, "No, I'm actually from North Texas. I was born in Waco." And he literally took 3 steps back, and he said, "I'm buying your drinks for the rest of the night." And I said, "Are you sure, laddie? Are you sure you want to do it? Because it's going to be pricey." And he started laughing. He said, "Absolutely." His bar tab was $300.
That wasn't all from you, I hope.
No,
right?
no,
Okay.
I would be alcohol poisoning at that point. But
okay.
yeah. I was like, I already had a tab of about $120 because I have a thing about buying drinks.
I shouldn't have asked. That was rude of me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe you were drinking something that was $50 a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I'm half Scottish and half Irish, so $300 isn't quite out of the realm of possibility.
Not going to go too far. Anyway. There you go. Now it's the drinking show, the creativity drinking show. That's great. Thank you, Jason. And Jason did another show with me recently, so I got to know him a little bit before this one. But Kay is brand new to me and to my viewers. And Kay, I would love to know a little more about you. You have a very interesting origin story you sent me, but I only had 8 lines for the intro. So why don't you tell us more? I'm putting you on speaker view. I want everybody to see your gorgeous purple. Go ahead.
Okie doke. Well, I have just the opposite background from almost any writer you're going to speak to. I started singing professionally at the age of 7. And yes, my first role was Gretel, the youngest Von Trapp child. And I was discovered at a county fair Little Miss Junior contest. And it was in the middle of nowhere because I grew up on a farm, but it was our county fair. And everyone knew I could sing. So mom made me a little costume and I got up there and just happened. This is the way things work. There was a scout from the St. Louis Muni Opera, which was an outdoor theater in the summer in St. Louis. And it's a couple hours from us. And he was there seeing some relatives, but when he saw me, he actually approached my parents and it went from there. So I sang Broadway from the age of 7 till the age of 27. But while I was going to college, and my parents said, well, you've been doing really well, and I know you've been making money at singing, but maybe you better have something to fall back on. So I ended up going to the University of Kansas and being a music ed major, which at that time they were pretty much the best school in the country. But they also had a really good voice department. So that kind of was a double major. And everybody kept saying at the school, yeah, you have a great Broadway voice, but we really think you could be an opera singer. I wasn't much into that as an undergrad. And I was in one opera, Carmen, and they actually put me in the leading role. But I was like, okay, so I tried that. Woohoo, So got out of school, taught a couple of years. I was actually singing jazz in Kansas City when a woman came up to me. She was a professor at the conservatory there in Kansas City, and again approached me about opera. And her husband had known me at KU. They were both singers. And she said, we've always said, really, you've really got some chops there. You could really develop. And at that point, I don't know why, but I decided to resign as a teacher and I went back to graduate school and started studying opera. And I was in my first year of graduate school when the dean approached me and said, Kay, you're winning a lot of competitions and, everything's going so well for you. I think maybe you should try out for a Fulbright or Rotary International, and you could finish your training over in Europe. And I thought, wow, who wouldn't want to go to Europe for a year or two, So I did, and I was awarded both those grants, and so that gave me 2 years in Europe. And at that point, I was hoping to go to Italy, but I ended up being placed in Vienna, Austria, which has a very wonderful opera house. It was just that I was an Italian opera singer. So, obviously I wanted to go to Milano or someplace like that. But, I was beggars can't be choosers. So I took it. And during my first year in my apprentice, I was also making a little money on the side, being a Catholic cantor. This is something I had been trained in, as in young. And that's what ends up happening why I was the 9/11 singer. But everybody needs money when they're, let's just say apprentices don't pay much. It's kind of room and board and what you need to be trained and not much else. And so, that came in handy. And I got to know, I was friends with some of the priests. And this was right at the time when USSR was letting go all of the satellite countries. And those satellite countries had no infrastructure. And so basically we just had a lot of refugees, rushing to the West because there were no jobs, etc. And so a lot of refugee camps were being set up. And so I was asked, to go and volunteer there and try to cheer people up and sing for them. And that's when my life took a major turn.
What happened?
And well, I got involved in a spy ring.
Do you really want to talk about that now? Is this are you classified? I didn't sign an NDA and we're live streaming here, Kay. Jason looks
Yep.
like, what do we have to sign? I'm not sure about this. Jason,
I
you
want
getting
some guy to
ideas?
come knocking on the door, you know.
I know you're getting ideas for a new book here, Jason. Met a woman on a live streaming.
I have too many already. I don't need any more.
I'm getting ideas. I'm writing my novel. Kay, skip to the part of where you started writing because I want to go on with the
Okay,
quote. So go
sure.
ahead. I'm loving your story, but
So
go ahead.
35 years later, I'm back in the United States, and I've seen some stuff by then.
Wow.
And I've got lots of PTSD to handle. And so I
Okay.
went into a PTSD program, and they suggested, besides art therapy and music therapy, writing therapy, start writing in a journal. So I would, and then I would hand it in. And that's who said, "Oh my God, you have to write this down as a book." And
Kay,
so I did.
You just kept discovering you along the way. Can we say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just kept it. Would you? I know you didn't prepare this, but any chance you want to sing just a 10 seconds or 20 seconds of something for us? I don't want to put pressure on you. You're allowed to say no. You can be gracious, but
Well, I could, but I will say, who is your engineer?
that's
I
Jordan.
forgot
But
his-
I'm the engineer for all of the live stream. So what's the question?
Well, the question is, I will blow out your mic. The comment is, I will blow out your microphone because
Okay.
of the velocity of my voice. But maybe if I take mine off, way away.
Okay. All right. Just sing a little.
We'll
Just
see
sing a
what
little for us.
happens here. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
There you
Oh.
go.
Lovely. Beautiful. Thank you, Kay.
Well, I've been retired for many, many years.
I can't tell. I have a funny story to tell you. Remember I mentioned that Madeline Kahn, the late actress, yes.
Yes.
Jason is just, he's clutching his chest here. Okay, clutch your pearls there. She used to sing at a Bavarian restaurant in upstate New York to make money when she was in college. She was a singing and waitressing, okay?
Yep.
One day, the story goes, this is an anecdote that she told to an interview a long time ago. And there's a reason I'm telling you this, Kay and Jason. She was asked she said, a large Italian man yelled at her across the diner and he said, "Sing, Madame Butterfly." Well, Madeline Kahn had never sung. She was a singer, but she had never sung opera. So she went home and she started learning how to sing El Dio B something or other. El Bel D. That was it. What it was, or Un Bel D. That was it.
Un
And
Bel D. Yeah.
that was the. I'm struggling here. That was the aria
That's
because
okay.
it was in my notes. I did another show earlier today, and she came back and she actually was able to sing. She wrote in that sort of kind of way. But she ended up singing an opera number for Leonard Bernstein's 50th anniversary party
Wow.
at Lincoln Center. Madeline Kahn. Did you know that, Jason?
I
didn't.
Kay? Is that
I did not know that either.
Kay, it just I was on I have a show called Happy Birthday to You, and I did it with somebody a couple hours ago, and I had the full bio of Madeline Kahn, and that was one of the stories I found when I researched her. So well,
Wow.
your voice is beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I do remember her singing opera in Young Frankenstein.
Yes,
She
yes.
would go, oh,
Yes,
So
I think we all remember
that
that.
kind of draws into, yeah.
Yes, I think we all remember that part. We just didn't know that she was actually singing. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do now is I want to go to your quotes you sent me. I've asked you each for a quote from a fictional character in a movie or a TV show or a song lyric. And we want to find out what the quote has to do with your creativity. So take 3 or 4 minutes. Jason, I'm pulling yours up first. And before I tell the quote is, and it was very interesting, it was stated by Captain Jean-Luc Picard, played by, of course, Patrick Stewart. Star Trek: The Next Generation, American sci-fi TV series set in the 24th century following the adventures of the Starfleet crew of the Federation starship Enterprise. Created by Gene Roddenberry, the series aired from 1987 to 1994 in syndication, 7 seasons, 178 episodes, the third series in the Star Trek franchise. That's this one. So this is from the episode, Jason, Chain of Command. 2-part episode aired on December 14th and 21st in 1992 as season 6, episode 10 and 11, or overall 136 and 137th. Okay. As Picard is freed from his bonds and about to be taken away, I'm trying to be dramatic. Okay, I'm sure you would do it better. He turns to his captor, Gul Madred, and defiantly shouts his final words. Jason, do you want to yell out the words?
There are 4 lights.
That's the quote. Okay, I'm putting you back on speaker. Very well done. Boy, do we work together well. Shout out to Mickey Mickelson, by the way, for introducing us.
Yeah,
Okay, so
thanks.
go ahead. Now tell us what that has to do with your creativity. Four lights, all in caps, bold, big. Go, go.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Patrick Stewart in particular, but also Captain Picard is, and that particular speech is, he's been, to give you a little bit of context, he's been tortured for a significant period of time by this alien commander who sits him in a chair in front of his desk, played by the incomparable David Warner, and above him, behind him, there are four bright lights, and all that the alien commander wants him to do is say there are five lights, even though there's four. And the audience can clearly see there's four. So it's a way that the commander uses to break him down, to gaslight him, in this case, literally, to show that he has control over this person's reality. And the thing I really like about Captain Picard in general, but also in this particular case, is that he's sticks to his guns. He knows what reality is. He knows who he is. He knows what he's supposed to do, where he's supposed to be, and in most cases, how to act in any given situation. And it's not because he's stayed in the wool, sort of stick up your something or other kind of person, although he very much is that as an Englishman or as a Frenchman, being portrayed by an Englishman who I don't know who would be more stuck up in that case, but it's centering. It's a part of who he is, and he knows who he is and what he's put here to do, and how to move forward from that. Everything builds on that foundation, and that's what I do in my author career. It took me a long time to realize it, perhaps not quite as long as Captain Picard, but I'm meant to be an author. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to be a storyteller in particular. An author is just the way I've chosen to do that, although I could easily do it as visual media as well. And so um, everything that I do is centered on that. It moves out from that, and so every time I tell a story, it's about connection. Every time I go to a convention, it's about who I am as a storyteller and how I connect with somebody on that basis. And that creativity really informs the way I write, the way I tell stories. That foundation really helps with the way that I tell stories. And so
Lovely.
that's just one of those. One of the ways that
Speaking
really
of right,
affects me.
how many books? How many series? How many books? Give us a little more background here.
I have currently I have published 4 books. I have, I think, 6 short stories published. I have 2 new ones coming out. As a matter of fact, I have one new one coming out because one just came out in the anthology Talons and Tales, which is all about griffins. Fantastic anthology. My story in there is called Wild Sky Dancers, and it's a direct prequel to one of the non-published but finished books that I have, which is about griffins. And I also have a 1948 spy thriller. It's talking about spies. This one's set on Oahu, so there's that. I have a massive fantasy epic story. It's 30 books long with a 6-book core series. And I could be writing till I'm 93 if I wrote 4 full-length novels a year. I'm just saying. Yeah.
I had to give that to you.
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's why I don't need any more ideas. I have a spreadsheet with.
I
so
had to
many
give that
ideas.
to you because you deserve some applause there. That's you're a writing machine. Do you sleep?
I usually sleep between 5 and 6 hours a night, and
About
that's
the same as
good.
me.
Yeah,
Yep.
I get some good sleep on that. I usually go to bed between 2 and 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I have my nights. Yep. I
Yeah.
think the creative mind is, I'll read you a poem I wrote later on about
Mhm.
creativity. But thank you very much, Jason.
Mhm.
Absolutely fascinating. And by the way, in my introduction, you didn't see the notes, the spelling, but it was spelled Gryphon. Is that how you spell Griffin?
That's how I spell Griffin.
That was in the person
Yeah.
who co-wrote the poem with me put in that, and I had never seen that before.
That's because it's the English, the UK English or the European English spelling.
Hmm.
I'm not European, obviously. I'm an American, but for whatever reason, I'm also an Anglophile, a significant Anglophile. So I tend to my publishing company is Grey Gecko Press, Gray Gecko Press with an E instead
Ooh.
of an A. I get Microsoft Word doesn't know what to do with me when it tries to spell check, because it's like this is English, but this is American English, but this is UK English. What are you doing? So
Yep. Yep. We're all very global, but I like the fact that branding should matter to you. If you
yeah,
want to use the E, if you want to use the GRYPHON, that's part
yeah,
of your branding. And I think that's so important when you're creative is who do you want to be? Look at the background behind me, Kay and Jason. I created this in a program called Night Cafe Studio a while ago, and then I went to Photoshop, moved stuff around. I think I got the lips from somewhere online, and I put them over the Zentangle background, and I imported a red microphone, and then I went to Photoshop and added the banner here with the new name, and this makes me happy. So this is somebody might say, "Oh, the lips are in the wrong place. We can't really see them." Well, that's just too damn bad because that's where I want them. So isn't that what we do, Kay and Jason?
Yes,
We
absolutely.
we make it happen. We put it where we think it belongs for us. I'm getting philosophical. We have plenty of time for
no,
that. Go ahead.
that's I did. There's an excellent book I just finished reading about being an author and the way that we tend to be authorial, and it's by Johnny B. Truant. It's called The Artisan Author, and it just blew my mind because it talks about the way that I want to be as an author, which is quality over profit. Because right now, a lot of what you see as an author is what's called rapid release,
Yeah.
which I can't do it. Some people can, and they don't burn out, which is fine. But that's not for me. And that's what it's like you were saying with your art. It's who you are as a creative. You need to stay
Yeah.
true to that because that's when you're going to do your best work.
It's your feelings. It's your persona. It's in your heart. It's what you like. It's what you like.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Before we get too deep into this, I want to move to Kay's quote, and this is a beautiful quote stated by Guido Orefice. I'm going to say it that way, played by Roberto Benigni. And the movie, of course, is Life is Beautiful, 1997 Italian period comedy drama film. In Italian, it's La Vita è Bella. And I have all kinds of ways to pronounce that, but I can. Directed by and starring Roberto Benigni, who co-wrote the film with Vincenzo Cerami. He plays Guido, a Jewish Italian bookshop owner who employs his imagination to shield his son, from an internment in concentration camp. Okay, very, very interesting. The movie was very successful. It grossed over $230 million, including almost 60 million in the United States, the second highest grossing foreign language film in the U.S. Interesting, Kay, after Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Isn't that interesting? And one of the highest grossing non-English language movies of all time.
Yeah,
Considered
yeah.
one of the top 5 best foreign films of 1998 by the National Board of Review. And here's the quote you've picked. My theory on life is that life is beautiful. You can't even say anything after that. You just gotta
Mm-mm.
stop. You just gotta stop. Okay, Kay,
Mhm.
take it away. What does this mean to you?
Well, with all the experiences I've had, um, I had just gotten back um, from a few years out of Bosnia, the Bosnian War. And I'd had an experience where I saw a massacre, and on the actual pile of bodies there were babies and children, and they said, okay, we have to have a mass burial. And I was with the priest, and he reached down and he got some dirt and he handed it to me there, and
Mm.
he said, please promise me you'll never forget this. And I said, I won't. And we had to jump in the Jeep and get back to the UN camp where we were staying. And as soon as I got there, so, you can imagine the drive home, how we both were feeling. No one was talking. We were withdrawn and being within ourselves. And all of a sudden I get there, and this refugee I'd been speaking to, he takes my hand, come on, you got to go, you got to go. And I'm like, where are we going? He's like, the medic team. And we get there, and his wife has just given birth to a baby.
Oh,
And he takes the baby and he puts it in my arms. And I'm looking at the baby. And then I realize right by the baby, I'm seeing the red clay dirt in my palm.
Mm.
mm.
And, you know,
Yep.
that's exactly what that film represents. Okay. At the very worst of times, humans can find beauty, or something from the universe comes down and shows us, it's going to be okay. Right.
Yep. Yep.
And so I had just come back to New York on leave, and my nephew said, "Oh, I saw this movie. Aunt Kay, you have to see this movie." So we went like in the middle of the day. I think we're the only ones in the theater. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I watched that movie, and I was changed by that movie more than any movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And of course, it helped that I do speak Italian, but I was just so overwhelmed. I couldn't actually stand up to walk out of the theater. I just said, I just got to sit here for a while.
Yep.
And so
that's art, Kay. That's art. That's the impact of art on us.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that taught me to play the relativity game, and that's how you get through some really bad stuff. Is you say, okay, this is bad, but hey, it's not as bad as Bosnia.
Yep. Somebody told me years ago, she said, spin the wheel of disease, of disaster, and see where what you're going through fits on that. And you'll find, hopefully, there's a lot worse, right? What could be worse? Wow. Thank you, Kay. Thank you for that beautiful quote. I want to read to both of you. I belong to an online poetry group at Writer's Digest, and we get a prompt from Robert Lee Brewer, the moderator, every Wednesday morning early. And we do it once a week. There are about 30 or 40 of us now. But the real treat comes in April and November, when we get a prompt every single day. And I write between 3 and 5 every Wednesday, and then I write between 3 and 5 poems every day, all April and all November. So I've been doing this 3 years, and I have about 700 poems, and I put a couple chapbooks together, but it's just fun. It just gets stuff out. It's Jason, it's like the writing just has to come out of me. I sit down Wednesday morning before my technology show, and I just start writing, and I post them, and we give each other thumbs up, and people comment, but I'm the class clown. And for example, you're surprised.
No.
Not really. And for example, last 2 weeks ago, the prompt word was write a poem about wall, W-A-L-L, anything to do with wall. So people are writing, the wall, and I hit the wall. Well, I go out and do the etymology of the word wall and put down that it came from Old English, and it came from this, and it was the Italian, it was the Greek, and I'm doing it. And then I put it into a phrase, and I write an acrostic with the first letters of something like she hit the wall, and I write it down, and then I add language next to it, and I write a whole acrostic. So it's a whole project, and people are like, what is she doing? No, nobody's doing this. So every Wednesday I give them an etymology lesson. Last week it was autumn. So anyway, on July 24th, 2024, so a little over a year ago, it was a Wednesday, and the prompt word from the moderator was night shift. So I wrote an acrostic, NIGHTSHIFT, and I'm not going to put it on the screen, although I could. I'm going to lean forward and emphasize as each word, the N and the I and the G, and you'll get the gist. And this is my gift to you. I read this on a lot of my shows, but I think the two of you will really appreciate it. So I'm going to start now. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative. Going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows. Flowing on a mental Mobius strip, the days are the nights, are the days again, shifting off and on, into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster, finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration, fears. Thus is the life of the creative. What do you think?
I like it.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Very lovely.
Thank you. There's so much, I packed so much into it. We got past the rhyming poems a long time ago. So there you go. I'm glad you like that. Okay. So now let's go to some of your creativity statements. I mean, we've only got 20 minutes left. We're having such a good time. Okay, Jason, don't worry, I'll fill in the blanks. Joel sent an apology. He's stuck in traffic somewhere on a highway in British Columbia, and he only has intermittent cell service, and he couldn't get in touch with me. So we're doing a shout out to Joel. It spells it McKay, but it pronounces it McKay. I got his voicemail, so I'll get him on another show. So Jason, I'm going to pick a couple of your statements here and read them. I'd like you to unpack them for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to see what Kay wants to say about Jason's comments, about his statements. If they resonate with you, Kay, a little bit of feedback, not I like it or I don't like it, but does it mean anything to you? And then I'll read some of Kay's and we'll go back. We've got a lot to do. Okay, so Jason, this is interesting. You say, I write because I have to get the words out, what I call the fire in our heads. I think you've been talking a little bit about that during the whole show, but this is very, very focused, and fire in our heads is a very strong statement. So, Jason, why don't you unpack that and tell us what it feels like? Go ahead.
Well, the phrase isn't actually mine. I stole it from somebody with permission, so I guess it's not really
Mhm.
stealing. I cribbed it.
You borrowed it.
We were on a panel at Comic Palooza, and somebody said, "Why do you write?" And she said, "We have to get out the fire in our heads." And I thought, oh, that is such a good description of it. I write because I can't not. I have to write. Otherwise, all of these voices, not literal voices. I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested. You know, all of these voices, they do clamor for attention, and I have such a very vivid imagination that I have to tell the stories just to make room for the new ones, basically. So,
Jason,
um,
it's a Celtic expression referring to being filled with inspiration, as if energy or a halo is radiating from one's head. It also refers to a poetic collection titled "Because of Fire in Our Heads" by Jay Udall, which explores forms of desire, or a similar collection of poems by Ben Okri called "A Fire in My Head," dealing with contemporary issues. Forgive me for interrupting you, but
no, you're
I
fine.
I love to do my research, so there you go.
I mean, it's sort of appropriate that I like something that's Celtic too.
There
So
you
way back
go.
in the day, you
There you
know.
go.
But yeah, it's for me, it's just about I can't not tell stories, and it comes out some way or another. I'm always telling stories to my friends. I'm telling things that happened to me in the past, making them funny, making them sad, tragic, whatever. It's all about that. And what it really boils down to is, as I'm getting older, I realize what it really boils down to is just connecting with people. And so I've mentioned that several times, and it's just about making people realize that connection is what it's all about. Whether that's with a character in a novel or with a person next to you at dinner, it's that level of communication and that connection is where we really find the richness in life, I think.
Very, very interesting. Kay, thoughts about that? That connection, that human input? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really at the end of the day what we're all striving for in whatever media we choose to do that for. For my long time, it was acting and singing. Now, yes, I'm doing it with words, but I also have a lot of imagination going on in my head. So, when I had the facts for this story, but I didn't know how to write it. It was fun to just, start letting that all flow, and I couldn't
Yeah.
believe all the stuff I came up with, because it was my first experience, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is darn cool.
It is
Yeah,
cool.
it
It
really
is
is.
cool.
Yeah.
The flow is cool. Yes.
Yeah,
There's no feeling quite like getting
No.
that story out and realizing that it's taking shape the way you want it to, or
exactly.
surprising
Yeah.
even you.
I wrote a
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wrote a romantic comedy play. I did three of them about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and I produced them in my TV studio when I was living on Long Island with community actors who were doing other plays, and I had to promise they wouldn't have
Mhm.
to memorize. So I set up teleprompters so they wouldn't have to. But they did a really good job, and I have the Vimeo links. I can send them to you. But the point is that I wanted to write a play, and I didn't know how. So I found a playwriting 101 template that I could download from the internet, and I copied to put it in a Word document. It told me the font and the lettering and the size and how you start the scene, and then you curtain up, and then what's happening, and you describe very briefly your characters, and then you just go through the dialogue, how you indent and how you. It was lovely. 3 nights, Jason, from 1 to 4 in the morning. I wrote. I didn't sleep those nights. I had a full-time job. I had to be at work at 9 o'clock. I think I was working from home doing some tech job. But the point was, I think in 3 or 4 nights, the way I recall it, they were done. And Kay,
Mhm.
the characters told me who they were and what they wanted to say, where they were going and how they felt. It was
Mhm.
an experience like being used, like a channel. It was
Mhm.
phenomenal. It was almost scary, really. I just sat there. I said, okay, she wants to say, she said this. He reacted. He looked here. He looked to the right. She looked to what was in her purse? He's imagining it was a sandwich in her. Why did she ask him to take her to an expensive restaurant? It was a first date, blind date kind of a show. And it was very, very cute. But I knew who they were. They told me. I didn't make it up. They were right there.
I
Jason, I wasn't tested. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I had that's funny. I had an experience writing my first novel. There's a scene because it's the end of the world. There's a religious extremist who preaches hellfire and brimstone and everything, and it's about a page and a half to 2 pages, and it's some of the best writing in the book. But the kicker is I have no memory of writing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, that is
Yep.
a little creepy, even for a zombie writer. That
Yep.
there's this. I don't remember writing it, but
It
yeah.
just
So
needed to be written, and you just
yeah,
were the one typing. That was it. You were just.
exactly. I'm just the conduit.
Don't you
Yeah,
love being
exactly.
used by your characters? Before we go off on too much of a tangent here
Yeah,
and get
no, I
lost,
did.
I'm going to
Yeah,
pick two of Kay's statements here, and then Jason will react. And I will. So Kay says, I'm most inspired by hiking in the forest, discovering a waterfall, or watching a sunset. This is when my mind is able to totally focus and I'm able to envision what I'm going to write on the page. That's beautiful, Kay. Tell us a little more, please. How often do you go walking in the forest and seeing waterfalls?
Well, that's one reason I moved to Wisconsin,
Ha!
because there's a lot of beautiful here. And I just got back, my partner and I just got back from a huge vacation. It was a ride and a half through like 5 different national parks.
Oh,
And
nice.
so many times, I would just kind of go off by myself and just enjoy the vistas. And yeah, book two's, starting now. And, and it would be like, oh, that's how I'm going to do that. And I don't know how that translates from that beautiful mountain scene or, the starkness of the Badlands, but somehow that is what feeds me, is nature and beauty, so yeah.
Very, very interesting. Jason, what do you think? You into
I
nature and
can't.
beauty?
I am. I am. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been. I live on the beach now, but I grew up in the mountains, and I've been to one of my favorite places on earth is the top of Mount Haleakala on the island of Maui, which is one of the tallest volcanoes in the world. I'm 10,203 feet watching the sun come up, looking 3,000 feet straight down into the caldera, and I'm thinking,
Oh,
how can I not write about this? So, even if it's nonfiction in that case,
Mhm.
inspiration comes everywhere.
it does. I'm going to squeeze in, we got about 9 minutes left, plenty. I'm going to squeeze in one more of Jason's statement since I combined two for Kay. Let me give you your second one. You say, I do occasional dream journaling, but mainly use, and I want you to tell me what this is, Obsidian to take down my notes on stories. So are we talking journaling in a book, journaling on a phone? How do you do that? Because I know my dreams just go poof the second I wake up. So how do you capture your dream journals?
I used to have a notebook by my bed, and then I stopped doing that when I realized I couldn't read anything that I was writing when I first wake up.
Touche.
Yeah, it's
Talk about
it's
art.
bad enough just when I've been awake for 20 hours or whatever, 10 hours, however much. It's bad enough then, but when I first wake up, it's like, and I have no idea what I'm actually writing. So sometimes, and even if could read it, it wouldn't make sense. So I give myself a little bit of love, and I write it down. Usually, I'll put it into my phone in the Obsidian app or on the computer. Obsidian is a sort of a note-taking app that's free. You can just Google Obsidian Notes and then you'll find it. It was created by somebody who was trying to implement believe it or not, I believe a German note-taking style called Zettelkasten. My partner Jen started in on that, and then I was like, "Oh, that sounds kind of cool." It's just a way to connect. Speaking of connection, a way to connect ideas that might not be connected. And in this case, I just use it for notes. But when I use it for notes that are in interconnected stories, I can go in and map it out and see the connections that I wouldn't have placed, wouldn't have thought about.
Hmm.
So I use that, and I structure it like a Windows folder structure, but
Mm-hmm.
it connects everything else, and I can tag other things. And it
Really?
yeah, it really helps me to be focused, and I can have it up in a window while I'm writing. I can write. I write in Scrivener generally, but I can have Obsidian up there as my research and inspiration and stuff like that. So,
Thank
it's
you.
tools are as important as inspiration. So,
Yes, they absolutely are. Yes. Kay, can you relate to that? Anything about journaling or writing ideas down? What do you think?
Well, I am fortunate that I am a vivid dreamer and I remember them forever. I have like epic dreams a lot. Like literally it feels like you're watching a whole movie.
Me
yeah,
too, but I
same,
can't
same.
remember it when I wake up. I know they're
Oh,
movies. I see scenery and colors and places
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
costumes and but they just go when I wake
Oh,
up. They
really?
just, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
Yeah.
do you how do you capture
I
yours?
always remember them and I wouldn't say that I've used any of the content, to write my books. My books are based on fact a lot, but what I do is I I like to think about, okay, because I know how the brain works. Why did I dream that? What is it trying to tell me? There's a
yeah,
reason. And that I spend a lot of time thinking about that. And usually I can come up with something like, oh, okay, they're saying to let that go, because that's holding you back, something that may have happened or may have happened a while back. But, you just kind of blew it off, but really it is a big deal. And so we need to talk. I
Interesting.
always feel like, my brain's talking to you. We need to talk about this. And then, then it's like you're free of that. And you don't really realize exactly how that's going to affect you. But then you realize maybe the next day, oh, I'm feeling a lot lighter, you know. So
Oh,
yeah,
interesting,
yeah.
interesting. I have the voice memo recorder on my phone, and once in a while I'll tap that and talk into it. But what I do if I want to remember something, I will I bought myself a set of nice little gel pens with the fine point. I have blue and purple and pink, and I keep a lot of sticky
Mhm.
notes on my desk. And I enjoy seeing the color of the ink, and I enjoy using
Yeah.
my handwriting, real handwriting. Say, can I read this? Yeah, I think I'll slant it a little more. Okay, stand up, whatever. I'm having fun getting back to penmanship. But my point is, what I'll do is if there's something I really want to remember, I'll write a note to myself and put it into my Outlook calendar. And for
Mhm.
example, at like 4 o'clock, remember to do such and such, or you want to start that story, or it's time to get back to this or that. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's creative things that I'll make an appointment with myself, basically, to go back to do something, but it's not, it's not a big list of things. I want to read a couple of quotes, and thank you for that. I want to read a couple of quotes I've collected. We have about 3.5 minutes left, so let me read couple things to you. Rapunzel, voiced by Mandy Moore in the movie Tangled, said the following: "Venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it." What do you both think? True,
Oh yeah, absolutely. You
Jason?
know, yeah.
Go ahead, Kate.
yeah. I was just going to say, comfort zones exist for a reason. Be kind and give yourself some love because comfort zones are necessary, but you don't grow in your comfort zone. And so it's important to grow as a person, as a storyteller, as a human, and you can't do that if you're always in your comfort zone. It doesn't mean you have to go and skydive. It just something a little different.
Unmoor your boat, get it off the dock, and
Yeah.
go take a little ride. Kay, you were going to say something. Please continue.
Yeah, I was just going to say it seems to me that everything that I've really, really been proud of and enriched my life the most, I went into it scared to death. But
Mm.
I remembered my mother gave me this quote when I was very small. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "We must do things we think we cannot do."
Yep.
And that could not be more true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Henry Ford said it too. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I've heard that.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I have another
yeah,
one here. I have one from the Rolling Stones. You'll recognize this. You can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you'll get what you
Get what you
need.
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 Yeah,
Ah, see?
yeah.
And I have
Yep.
another one from Glinda the Good Witch of the North, played by Billy Burke from the 1939 version of The Wizard of Oz. You had the power all along, my dear.
Yes.
It's there.
Absolutely.
It's in us. And I have a cute quote from Kurt Vonnegut, who, Jason, no comparison, but he wrote only 14 novels. He wrote 3 short story collections, 5 plays, 5 nonfiction, and for over 50 years. And after he was passed away, they still were publishing his work. He said, go into the arts. I'm not kidding. The arts are not a way to make a living. They're a very human way of making life more bearable. Practicing an art, no matter how well or badly, is a way to make your soul grow. Didn't we just talk about that? For heaven's sake, sing in the shower, dance to the radio, tell stories, write a poem to a friend, even a lousy poem. Do it as well as you possibly can. You will get an enormous reward. You will have created something. Isn't that lovely?
Yes.
Vonnegut was a genius. I mean,
Yeah.
not just a great storyteller, but there's a lot of wisdom in just his sayings and the life that he lived.
Absolutely.
A real philosopher. Yeah.
A real philosopher. And I have one quote from Roger Ebert, and then I got to close here. When you write, fall into the zone many writers, painters, musicians, athletes, and craftsmen of all sorts seem to share. In doing something, enjoy, and you are an expert at, deliberate thought falls aside, and it is just there. Think of the next word no more than the composer thinks of the next note. That's about being in the zone. I missed a word or two in there. So let me start to close here, and don't go away. We'll talk afterwards. So I have, this is for Kay, not for Jason. Kay, in 2014, I closed my show with the top 10 tips for women. I saved the notes, okay? And the number one tip, 2014, remember that year? The top 10 tip was aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. That was 10 years before the movie. Okay.
Including a nomination for Best Picture, too.
There you go. There you go. Let me see if I can find my real closing here. Hold on. Here we go. Life is short. Break the rules. Yep. Forgive quickly. I'm still trying to figure that one out. Kiss slowly. Yes. Love truly. Yes. Laugh uncontrollably. Jason and Kay, laugh with me. 1, 2, 3. That was good. Jordan, they're number one. And this is not for you. Wait a minute. And never regret anything that made you smile. And final words. Work like you don't need the money. And sometimes we need the money, but we're still working, right, Kay? Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco in high heels on a Formica tabletop in a cafeteria, high school cafeteria in Eugene, Oregon, because they didn't give me a stage when I was asked to teach disco dancing to 250 people, I said, make me a wooden stage. I don't want to fall. I never fell, but people watched. Sing like nobody's listening, but Kay, when you sing, everybody listens. And love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Let your heart figure it out, grow back, be quiet, and then learn to love again. Money talks, chocolate sings, la. And last but not least, I stole this line, talking about stealing lines from somebody else. Thank you for turning me on. Radio Red saying thank you so much to my 2 absolutely wonderful guests. Don't go away. Let me find the closing music. Here we go.
On Read My Lips Radio, producer and host, a.k.a. Radio Red, invites you to eavesdrop on her live, unscripted conversations with smart, savvy, creative people as she discovers what makes them tick, where they find their inspiration, when creativity first became their passion, and how their creative process can inspire the rest of us to think out of the box. Enjoy a.k.a. Radio Red's always lively, cool conversations with creatives. Oh, how those lips can talk.
Thank you, Ryan Treasure. Thank you, too. Okay, that's another show. Thank you very much, Jason Kristopher. Thank you very much, Kay Sparling. Thank you, too, Jordan Henson, my engineer for Voice America Empowerment Channel. And thank you to Mickey Mickle.